If you believe the explosions and airstrikes that shook Sokoto on Christmas Day would stay confined to the far north, it's time for a reality check. What happens when pressure becomes unbearable in one corner of the country? It doesn't disappear, it moves. And right now, that movement is rewriting Nigeria's security map in ways many people are not prepared for. For months, security watchers have warned about a dangerous pattern. When armed groups are squeezed hard in one region, they don't surrender, they relocate. The balloon gets pressed in the northwest, and it swells somewhere else. That warning has now become a chilling reality. The heat has become too much for bandits operating in the north, and they are not just fleeing. They are migrating, deliberately and strategically, into new territory. This week, that grim prediction materialized deep inside the forest of Ondo State. What looked like a quiet stretch of land turned out to be the hiding ground for men who believed distance alone could save them. They were wrong. In a major security operation, the state security network paraded 100 suspected criminals. Among them, one group stood apart, 39 men whose stories sent shockwaves through the southwest. These were not local thieves or desperate opportunists. These were individuals who had traveled hundreds of kilometers from Sokoto, the epicenter of recent military bombardment, in search of safety and new operational ground. Their destination was the notorious Alebika axis in O's local government area, a dense forest already known for violence and ambushes. Travelers remember it as a nightmare corridor. Years ago, a respected traditional ruler was murdered there, cementing its reputation as a black spot. For the fleeing bandits, it looked like the perfect refuge, remote, thick, and far removed from the roar of fighter jets and drones. They believed they could disappear. They believed they could wait. What they didn't account for was intelligence. These men were not wandering aimlessly through the bush. They came prepared. Vehicles, trucks, and motorcycles were parked far from their camps to avoid suspicion. From there, they trekked deep into the forest, convinced they were invisible. But what they didn't know was that security operatives had already established a permanent presence in that very forest, watching, listening, and waiting. When the operation was launched, the suspects were caught completely off guard. They had walked straight into a trap. During interrogation, the truth spilled out, and it was more alarming than anyone expected. The suspects openly admitted they fled Sokoto because of the intensified military pressure and airstrikes. The bombardment had made life impossible for them. Camps were destroyed, movements tracked, and escape routes blocked. Relocation, they believed, was their only option. This confession confirmed the worst fears of security analysts. Airstrikes are effective at flushing criminals out, but without a nationwide containment strategy, the threat doesn't end, it spreads. Terror doesn't die, it relocates. That reality raises a disturbing question for the Southwest. If 39 armed suspects were caught in one forest, how many others slipped through undetected? How many crossed into Ekiti, Osun, Ogun, or even deeper toward the Lagos corridor? The journey from Sokoto to Ondo is not accidental or random. It requires planning, coordination, and safe passage across multiple states. This was not panic, it was strategy. What makes this case even more significant is how the arrests were made. Local security operatives relied on something federal forces often struggle with: deep local knowledge. They knew who belonged in the forest and who didn't. A simple but powerful rule made all the difference: anyone staying in forest areas must have authorization. No permit meant immediate suspicion. That clarity turned the forest from a hiding place into a net. This approach is producing results and reigniting a national debate. If local security outfits can identify threats faster, patrol more effectively, and understand terrain better, why shouldn't states have more control over their own security? Without this presence, those 39 suspects might still be hidden in the bush right now, planning kidnappings, ambushes, or worse. There are political implications as well. The successful operation sends a clear message that Ondo State is not a soft target. But it is also a warning. Armed groups are actively searching for new routes, new forests, and new victims. Major highways, border communities, and forest corridors are all potential front lines if this migration continues unchecked. This moment forces Nigerians to confront uncomfortable questions. Are current security measures enough to stop the movement of terror across regions? Should there be tighter monitoring of highways linking the north and south? And most importantly, are communities prepared for threats that no longer announce themselves from a distance? One thing is certain, the battlefield has changed. The war is no longer fixed to one region. It is mobile, adaptive, and opportunistic. What started in the northwest is now being felt far beyond it. As the new year unfolds, the security map of Nigeria is shifting in real time. The forests are no longer just forests. They are hiding places, transit points, and warning signs. Staying informed is no longer optional, it is a matter of survival. Because when the bush begins to move, the real danger is not the movement itself. It's what's hiding inside.